Okay, so in continuation with my pipe fence building project, I figured I would just show you guys this. Just wanted to share a little bit of what I've dealt with today, and I'm still not 100% sure what the problem is, but I had a heck of a time cutting pipe earlier to the point that I just simply could not get my blade to penetrate the pipe, and I've never had any problems like this before. The only thing I can think is the pipe was wet, and I'm wondering if maybe that has some sort of impact on that fiber blade, that it makes it lose its edge or something. I haven't done anything different. It's just been a couple hours that we haven't had rain. I'm working in the garage now, and it's still a little hard, but I'm starting to get through it. So maybe it really was, maybe the moisture's the problem, I don't know. But anyway, I just want to show you guys just kind of a step-by-step and give you the tips of the cuts. As far as cutting this round pipe, when you first start your cuts, it's going to be a little bit difficult because you're cutting into a face here, okay? So you've got a lot of contact area with your blade. The deeper you cut, the more contact area you get. Now at a certain point, you'll break through to where you have two individual contact faces when you're cutting down the sides, and then it cuts really quick. It'll almost get away from you. And then once you get underneath again, you're going to have that solid face again, so it's going to slow back down. The trick is, once you get through to that second solid face, just roll your pipe about 30 degrees. You don't have to roll it very far at all. Roll it just enough that you reduce it back to one cut face again, and you're cutting against a narrow edge. You're cutting against an edge like, well, you'd be cutting against an edge like this here, instead of cutting against this whole bottom half edge. So I'm going to do just a couple little clips here as I'm cutting. When I put this video together, I'm going to cut the sound out so you guys have to hear it, because it is really loud. Just a few tips on safety. I mean, right now I'm working, I've got safety glasses on, I've got leather gloves on, I've got earmuffs on. Despite my good music in the background, I am wearing some earmuffs. The silliest thing, I am doing those, I've got Crocs on. So that is not a good method. You should probably be wearing some sort of leather boots or something, but I mean, the fact is you get these little sparks in your socks, and yeah, it burns for just a second. So as long as my foot doesn't burst into flames, I'm okay. But let me get a couple of clips here cutting, and if any of you guys have experience with cutting pipe like this, if you've ever had that happen where the blade just simply wouldn't cut, I'd appreciate it. I mean, I was putting almost my whole body weight on the thing to the point that I was bogging the saw down and flipping the breaker, and it just, all of a sudden, was getting the metal hot. It wasn't even throwing sparks. It was just like the blade had lost its edge. So, kind of curious. I called a few people, and they said they'd never had that problem. So, I don't know. I thought I had a junk blade, but I figured I'd give it a second shot, and now it's working. So, anyway, let me get a couple little clips here, and that'll be it. So, you can see starting this first cut how the blade lines up against the pipe. And as you cut in, you're going to have a long sort of trough that you're cutting. And you'll see as I'm working, I'll actually, I'll pick the saw up a few times as I'm making the cut, so you'll kind of see how the trough develops. Okay, so see, that was actually one of the harder cuts to cut to make. This pipe I just noticed on the way down here was one of the wetter pieces that I've cut, and I was going to mention that, but it proved true. So I mean, I was really putting some weight on it there. You saw how hot it was getting around the cut. These blades are supposed to be considered that, you know, you make the cut and shortly after it's cold, but that thing was glowing cherry hot. But you can see now if you look down inside here, maybe you can see if I can get the light on it right. Let me try to get lined up in here. Hang on. Okay, so you see now I'm cut through. So I've got a cut face over there and a cut face here, and I'm hollow in the middle. So now you'll see, and you might have noticed it right at the end of that last little bit of cut, and how all of a sudden the sparks really changed. A lot more sparks started flying, and the saw started penetrating quickly. So now we're into that period I was talking about with the dual cut face, and you'll see this next little part of the cut's going to go really fast. And then we'll rotate the saw, like I said, and finish it off. There you go. Actually, I think that was about, what, 20, 25 seconds to finish off the cut. Like I said, it takes a long time to get through that first cut, but once you get to that dual face, it cuts really fast. And I actually didn't have to rotate this one because as I started to make the cut, this heavy end, this tool joint end, got heavy enough that it started bending itself down and basically ripped loose. But despite that bend, it's not like when you're cutting wood and it breaks on you, it actually still makes a nice clean face. So throw that one over on the scrap pile. I'll use those pieces to experiment with on making my coping cuts. But you're left with a nice clean end there. Just about fell over backwards. Left with a nice clean end. I've got one more pipe I'm going to cut for tonight, and then I'm going in the house and go to bed.